the planet inside my chest. When I woke up, the space above my navel was empty. The skin was indented, leaving only the outline, and inside it was a small horizon. A blue sea, a brown continent, white whirlpool. The shadow of a cloud slowly crossed the inner surface of my ribs. There is no pain. Rather, it felt organized. It felt like my ribcage had become an observatory. The hospital was noisy. The foundation arrived. I was given a number, cameras were added to the room, and a weather map was posted next to the bed. One of the doctors said, "There is wind blowing inside you. Won't it scatter even if you sneeze?" That's what's strange. You are not affected by the outside world. Your physiology is rather influencing the other side. Every morning, I reported the season of my chest. On days when my blood pressure is high, the pressure on the other side drops slightly. The day after staying up late, a small storm occurs in the inland sea. If I eat too much instant noodles, the coastal algae overgrow abnormally. The nurse laughed. Dietary fiber is good for the continent. Eventually, a telescope was set up. A dedicated arm along the edge of the chest, focusing synchronized with the heartbeat. The researchers cheered. Because a small line of light was seen in the night belt. An artificial light source? Civilizational activity? I held my breath and focused my eyes even more. Just a tiny grain. The number is small. However, there was a regularity that reminded me of the concept of a city. Contact. Impossible. There is no physical connection. Only observation. The only thing I can do is to regulate my life. Sleep, meals, exercise. The climate on the other side stabilizes. The more healthily I live, the more civilization grows within me. Without irony, that was the direct cause. A few months later, the light increased, scattered along the coastlines inland. Flickers resembling power generation were also confirmed. The doctor puts his hands together and says, "Please hold back on the coffee." The pace of industrialization is rapid. When I stopped drinking coffee, the atmosphere in my chest became clear. The stars were clearly visible. I ran seriously, ate salad, and slept for 8 hours. Then, over there, a satellite rose. A small point of light crossed the edge of the sky in my chest. "You did it." I murmured to no one in particular. Eventually, they drew a map. A bridge over the strait, a tunnel in the mountains, a long road in the plains. Each of them showed a strange correlation with the course of my blood vessels. It might be borrowing from an anatomical diagram. The researcher murmurs. I cleared my throat and slightly shook the scenery. Their bridge, however, did not break. One night, a particularly bright dome appeared on the inner surface. It opens and closes every few hours, shooting something into the sky. It's a space cow. I pressed my chest. The rhythm of my heartbeat quickened. The next morning, shapes were drawn on the side of the dome. A hand mark inside a circle. 5 short lines. The researchers argued in the conference room. A signal? No, just a religious symbol. I could no longer endure it and told the attending physician. I have one thing I want to do, so please confirm the prohibitions. I understand. The sound does not reach. Things do not reach. Then, what about shadows? I sat on the bed and held my hand over my chest. I opened and closed my fingers, moving them slowly. A dark shadow, like a solar eclipse, must have crossed their sky in sync with the movement of the lungs. That night, the outer wall of the dome glowed all over. A giant hand-shape mimicked us, opening and closing. I laughed out loud. Stairs came out. The researchers watched me silently while recording. They are observing us. For several weeks, the hands play expressions continued. One finger is one. Two fingers are two. They counted and eventually returned prime numbers in flashes. Like a common language of science, basic agreements increased. I became more serious about my health. I reduced my salt intake, quit drinking, and stopped staying up late. The domes increased, and they set up nets in orbit. One morning, one of the C's in my chest disappeared. It was neither evaporation nor freezing. It was as if someone had lifted it and placed it somewhere else, a discontinuity. The outline of the continent creaked, and the color of the sky changed slightly. The researchers turned pale. It's a large-scale interference. It's not due to all factors. I realize. Last night, I had increased my sleep medication and was dreaming. In the dream, I was inserting my fingers into my chest, adjusting the position of the C. When I woke up, reality had adopted the arrangement of the dream. Since then, I have kept a dream journal. There was a predictable correlation between the content of the dreams and the topographical changes in my chest. The more unstable I became, the more the crust over there creaked. The more optimistic I was, the faster progress accelerated. I was confused. Living happily makes them progress faster. Progressing quickly also means reaching a crisis quickly. That night, the hand of the dome formed a fist. It just shone without opening. One of the researchers said, "It might be a rejection or a request." I couldn't choose my words. Before falling asleep, I opened my hand towards the ceiling to show. As slowly as possible. The following week, they launched a giant mirror. The mirrors aligned in orbit drew lines of light across the sky, gathered clouds, and guided rain. Floods decreased and droughts became shorter. I felt a little relieved. At the same time, something else began to spin among the row of mirrors. Not shining. Boxes of various sizes. An observation device or a weapon, the answer does not come. I asked the attending physician to increase the sleeping pills so that I won't have scary dreams. The doctor hesitated. Your calmness is directly connected to their calmness. That's why. To avoid seeing scary things. The medication increased and I spent more time sleeping. The time inside my chest also seemed to slow down a bit. On the last night, the domes lit up all at once. The row of mirrors changed direction and converged at a single point. That place was close to the shadow of the upper ribs in the chest sky. The light hit the wall, and the skin on this side became warm. Radiation levels rising. Someone shouted. Lead shielding plates were brought in. I sat up in bed and placed my hand on my chest. A knock from the inside. Something that shouldn't be heard left only the sensation of knocking on bone. I knocked back 3 times with my palm. The light of the dome intensified 3 times. The voices of the researchers faded away. I realize they are looking for an exit. They are trying to come this way. At that moment, I suddenly remembered my father's face. A photo from the day I was born. Cradled in his arms, wrapped in a small world. I took a deep breath and raised my head. Slowly, I opened it. Slowly, I closed it. Slowly, I conveyed repeatedly. The light did not weaken. It was just organized. At regular intervals, at a constant bandwidth. A coldness like a blueprint runs behind the bones. I closed my eyes. At the bottom of sleep, I became someone's chest. Someone held me, placed their hand over my sky, and slowly taught me my civilization. The next morning, my chest was calm. The sea returned, the mirror rose scattered, and the dome was silent. The recording device had lost the nighttime data. Is it a power system anomaly? Someone says. I nodded and lied. Maybe. I was given permission to take a walk. The hospital garden, the sound of wind chimes, the short day in the shadows. I sat on a bench and gently placed my hand on the edge of my chest. From within, a small heartbeat. A neat murmur, like the early morning rush of a distant city. I took a deep breath and slowly stood up. As I walk, the clouds inside my chest stretch a little. As I sleep, the night inside my chest becomes a little longer. That's fine. It's fine to remain without finding the exit. It's fine for this side and the other to only observe each other. The world is quietest when it is being embraced.